I'm telling you a fact from today.
Interesting. Okay, maybe that was because Rebbetzin Feinstein was there. Maybe that's why they wanted it.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Zakharowitz on yet?
No.
He just texted me, no pressure, but you're about to give a shir on one of the most important dafs in Shas with tremendous implications for medical halacha.
Okay, so
he's getting me. He's trying to inspire me.
So tell him to log on.
Yeah, I guess he's not on yet.
ask him why he doesn't talking about why doesn't he wear a mask by the davening? I should ask the Abaya.
He doesn't wear a mask?
He didn't wear a mask the 2 days yesterday.
He's usually pretty good about it.
But he's very makbid usually. That's very interesting.
Maybe he got a vaccine.
Oh, you think?
You still have to wear the mask with the vaccine.
That's a very good point. What did you say, Jess?
I said you still have to because it takes a while for it to kick in, and that's even after you get the second shot, and the second shot is 3 weeks after the first one.
Are you getting
And unless he's black, he's not getting any shots right now because that's all they're giving it to right now.
Are you getting
to
vaccinated?
Show that there's cultural
Who are
diversity.
you talking to?
Jesse.
I will be.
Thank God. You can take off your mask?
No, right now it's because I might have it.
In 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks, you'll take off your mask? God damn it.
We'll see.
Listen, Sviat, let me ask you a question. Are you mechuyev to shovel your snow?
Yes.
No, Naftali, you leave your snow and you get sued. You're better off that way.
No, I know you do it because you don't want to get sued, but the question is, are you mechuyev to?
Yeah, I once looked into this.
Oh my God.
And I think it came out that you have to, yeah.
Because it's basically a stumbling block, no?
No, you're responsible for your property to make sure that it's safe for people to walk.
No, Naftali, what? Build a mic around your snow.
Build a who?
Micah.
A Micah?
Naftali, I'll tell you a better idea. Tell your wife the chiv is on the women.
She's gonna say it's a time-bound mitzvah, and she's gonna say I'm mechuyev then.
Yeah.
She knows more Torah than me.
Try that, and you'll be out there shoveling right now.
I'm done already.
Listen, it doesn't. It's no mitzvah by yosemi b'shlucha. So you know what I mean. Those guys that come around, you could hire them. That's not. It doesn't say. It's not like menorah where we want you to
do it with your own head. I wish people came to my block. Nobody wants to come to my block to show.
No, because they know they ain't gonna get paid the big bucks on your block.
Exactly.
Okay, we ready to roll? Yeah. So tonight is also a very action-packed daf. Not going to say important daf, but it's pretty important. Yeah. So, anyways, just the chazah from yesterday. So we learned out the Isser Hana. Then we had a member to learn out the Isser Hana from the Korban Chatas. That's the blood was brought into the Mizbeach HaPnimi. Or we learned it out from Miluim, and then we had kashas on that. And then we learned it out from Basar that became Tommy. Those are the three options to learn out that when it says achila, so it's also answering things bahana. And then we said, why can't you just use it to add on isurim? Just like we do it for bugs, right? Bugs, you have 4, 5, or 6 isurim. So we only add on isurim. That's only if we have nothing else to darshan. If we have nothing else to darshan, and the Torah must have meant it to be to add on lavim. Which, by the way, it's a machlokes rishonim whether you get 6 sets of makas. Right, or is it just okay? It's how that works exactly, but that's what is a machlokes, yeah. And then we learned out what are other things we can learn out from the pasuk of meat becoming tamei, and then we said an afkamina. If a person's tamei and he eats kodshim, he's chayav kares. If the kodshim themselves are tamei and you eat them, then that's a lav. And then we got to the main part of the daf yesterday, which was getting hana. You can get you're allowed to get hana shaloi kederach hanasa and shaloi kederach achila, right? Which we had said comes up a lot in taking medications, and Yom Kippur, which we'll get to in a minute. And then we said juice from fruit is not part of the fruit; it's considered sweat, and therefore that's considered shaloi kederach hanasa, but not all fruits, just everything other than olives and grapes. Yeah, okay, so that brings us to tonight's daf. What we're up to is Amud Abaya, around 10 lines up in the bottom. Yeah, so Amud Abaya. Hakol Moedim, yeah, we have it, 10 lines up in the bottom. Continuing in the sugya. So Amud Abaya, Hakol Moedim b'Klai hakerem, shaloi k'nagan afilu shaloi k'derech hanos. And everybody's moeded that by Klai hakerem, you get malchus, even if you benefit from it, shaloi k'derech hanos. And Klai hakerem is the basic Klai hakerem is a vineyard that has wheat mixed into it. So it has meat mixed into it. So therefore, you're not allowed to do that. And it's assur bahana, and even shaloi k'derech hanos. And my timer, mishum deloi ksibu achila. Nowhere in the assur of Klai hakerem does it say the word achila. So since it doesn't say the word achila, that means you're not allowed to benefit from it at all. Right? Now we're going to discuss that Basar bchalav is going to have the same thing, which has a lot of halachic ramifications, right? Which we'll get to. So now, based on this, the Chazon Ish that I had forgotten about yesterday. So the Chazon Ish says that by Yom Kippur, it also doesn't say a lashon of achila, right? Doesn't say you're not allowed to. It says you should have inui on Yom Kippur. Doesn't use the lashon of achila. So Memela, he says that even shaloi k'derech hanasai on Yom Kippur is assur. Right? So according to the Shagasai, you would not be able to do an IV on Yom Kippur, even though that's shaloi k'derech achila. Right? It's shaloi k'derech achila. But since it doesn't say the lashon achila, so the Shagasai says you would not be able to which the Ksav Sofer is mechaylik on that, and Ramosha Feinstein does not paskin like the Shagasai, and that's why we do have people running IVs on Yom Kippur, and you could take medications on Yom Kippur if it's necessary, etc., etc. That's all because you don't go with the Shagasai. Shagasai is very machor with all these things, right? Even in Achshavei, right, which we know that something is shaloi k'derech achila, but let's say you like it, right? Let's say ashes. So you burn something that's assur b'hana, and it's total ashes now, and now you eat it. Are you over? Are you allowed to have the ashes? So really, you're allowed to have it. The thing is, what happens if you like ashes? So then it's something called achshavei. You're machshav it in your eyes. You make it chashuv, and since you made it chashuv, right? Then it becomes it's considered like food for you. It's considered the derech for you. So that'll be a problem. So the question is, what about medicine? You're only eating it because you want the medicinal. You don't like the ashes, but the doctor told you to eat ashes. So now, is that called that you want it and you like it or not? That's also another part of the big machlokes on Yom Kippur.
But inu is only the hey inuyim that we know about.
Right.
It's nothing else. If you mark, not if you machshav something, you wouldn't make it into an inui. No.
Why don't we also say batal daita etzekol adam? If nobody likes eating ashes and he likes eating ashes, why does that play a role?
No, because for him, he likes it. So Mamela, that makes it choshev.
And
even if he's the only person in the whole world?
Yeah. What?
And if somebody likes
he's the only
breathing in
person
air,
in the whole world?
What do you mean he's the only person? Even if he's the only person?
Nobody else. There's nobody else who likes ashes except for one person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's big. He likes it. So Mamela, it's his. No? That's what we say. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, that's what we say. Shaila is the medication. Do we say it or not? Okay, so let's see weiter, and we get because there's a lot to do. Okay, so then Meisvei again. So Abaya said that everybody's maida by Klai hakerem that any hana, no matter what, even not in the regular way, would be assur. So therefore, taking Klai hakerem and putting it into an IV would be assur, right? taking it and using it for gas. If you somehow made your gas grow on your car be able to go on vegetables, even though it's still like a derech, would be assur, right? Only by Klai hakerem. So Meisvei, Isa ben Yehuda Omer, Minayin lebasar bchalav shu assur. How do you know the basar bchalav is assur ba'achila? First, we're starting with achila. Nemra kan ki am kodesh ata, because it says you are an am kodesh. V'nemra lahalan va'anshe kodesh tiyunli. It says by treif you should be anshe kodesh, right? Malahalan assur. So just like over there, by treif is assur. So too basar bchalav is also assur. So that's how we know basar bchalav is assur ba'achila. Mainly ala ba'achila. Bahana minayin. How do we know that it's assur bahana? Amr kavachomer say kavachomer. My Orlah, right? Fruits from the first 3 years of the tree. Shaloi nevda ba'avera, didn't do an avera. Assur bahana, it's assur bahana, right? What did the Orlah do? Nothing. It's a new tree. You planted it. The first 3 years, it's assur, right? Didn't do any avera, but it's assur bahana. Basar bchalav should nevda ba'avera. So basar bchalav that an avera was done because you cooked it, right? We know that it's assur to cook basar bchalav even if you don't eat it. So there was an avera done, and it didn't say assur bahana. So it also be assur bahana. Right now we're on to Chafei Amud Aleph. Then the Gemara asks on that. No, we're going to have a rapid fire back and forth here, but it's really not. It's not so complicated. Then the Gemara says Ma'ala Orlah, Shekain LaHoisel LaShasa Kosher. When Orlah was never had a kosher time to it, right? So maybe that's why it's assur bahana. Tamer Basar b'chalav sheHoisel LaShasa Kosher. Basar b'chalav was kosher, meaning when you had the meat, it was kosher. You had the milk, it was kosher. It's only when you mix the two together, which sometimes, agav, we use it as a chiddush. We say, you see, basar b'chalav is a chiddush. They could have two things that are mutter. You mix it together, it becomes assur, right? How that works? I mean, that's what the chiddush that the Torah is telling us. But whatever it is, here we're trying to use it as a reason to say it shouldn't be assur bahana. So we say chametz pesach yichiach. Chametz pesach will take care of that. Shayulay shasa kosher v'assur bahana. Chametz pesach was kosher, and
do you have any?
Assur bahana. What are you saying?
Do you have any time to explain what that means? It's a chiddush in the Torah. To me, everything in the Torah is a chiddush. I have to get up 5 o'clock in the morning to learn what to put on the tefillin. That's a chiddush too.
Well, for some people, that's a big chiddush to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. No, meaning if you're going with the rationale, with two things that are mutter, you mix them together and they become assur. Right? Why should that be? Right?
Okay.
Meaning this, when you're thinking about it from a rational. And not that I'm saying the Torah is irrational. That's how it's supposed to sound like. But I'm saying, but if you would on our own, we wouldn't say like, well, what should be the problem? If I take two kosher things and mix it together, then what should be the issue? But here we're using it as a kula. We're saying, hey, this was kosher, this is kosher. Why should it be assur bahana? Assur b'achila, the Torah said assur b'achila. Why should it be assur bahana? So then the Gemara says, what do you mean? Chametz b'Pesach will take care of that. Right? Shasa kosher v'assur bahana. Chametz b'Pesach is kosher, and then it becomes assur bahana. So you say, chametz b'Pesach, you can't onish chorus. No, chametz b'Pesach is onish chorus. So therefore, maybe that's why it's assur bahana. Tamer basar b'chalav she'eino onish chorus. Basar b'chalav is not a chorus. So then we say, Klai hakerem yechichu. Klaim in a vineyard is going to prove it. She'ein onish chorus. Assur bahana. There's no punishment of karas, and it's still assur bahana. Now, okay, so that's the give and take of how we learn out that basar b'chalav is assur bahana. But
what about
Yeah.
shotness? Why didn't the Gemara bring a ride from shotness?
No, the shotness is not assur bahana.
It's not assur bahana at all. You can wear shotness without.
You can use shotness. You can't use shotness to.
I'm asking. You could wear shotness and get enough from it.
No,
Can you sell
shotness?
No, it's
You
only
can sell shotness.
It's an assur levisha, but you can use it to. You can use it to make an ornament on your car. Just not on the chair of your car, but on your car. No, so that's not assur bahana. But you're right. That's two things that are mutter that you mix them together. It's assur. That's true.
Right.
That's
I think
point.
the Chabachis make the menorah out of shotness.
Okay. Okay.
See, why didn't the Gemara do a loy rizeh karizeh? I mean, the Gemara seems to like leave off with,
I was expecting I was expecting a loy rizeh karizeh, but it didn't do it. Didn't say it. Well, the truth is, this is not really the.
This is not where we learn it from, Lamaisa.
Correct. That's right. This is not the ikr.
But why not? That's what I'm asking.
Leisavashal. It's a pasuk.
But the Gemara is trying to learn it from it. So why didn't the Gemara at the end of the day, if the Gemara is doing all these yechichus, why didn't the Gemara taka learn from it? The Gemara could have.
Yeah.
Meaning, why didn't the Gemara find the makom to say lai rizeh kirizeh? It's exactly my question.
I wish I understood the mahalach of darshaning psukim that I could know the answer to that question.
Okay.
There's no way. It's a drasha. I don't know how when they. I don't know.
Well,
I can't.
Just as a start, this whole kal v'chaymer was only to get out of learning it from those two psukim originally, which it could be that the Gemara knew we don't anyway. So all I need is a reason not to learn it from there.
Okay,
right, but if you could say lai rizeh, that's not saying that you can't say lai rizeh kirizeh. You're just saying that once we were
It could be that ultimately,
at the end of the day, we
could be
The
that
Gemara's
ultimately
passion
there's a
was making
pirk on the whole
kal
thing.
Right.
It could be that there's a pirk on the whole thing. It's not negated to us because
But why
we
did the
learn it
Gemara
from
make an
Leisavashal.
attempt? If the Gemara is going through this whole shock of Italia to try to learn it out of the kal v'chaymer, obviously the Gemara thought there was a tzad you could. So why didn't the Gemara's taka say lai rizeh kirizeh and then ask
That's
a
what I'm
pirk on that?
saying. The Gemara never wanted to learn it from the kal v'chaymer. The purpose of this kal v'chaymer was just not to say learn it from the psukim.
Right. So why couldn't we learn it from a kal v'chaymer? From the tzad shava shebahen. So I'm asking.
Maybe there's a pirk on the whole thing. I don't know. It doesn't.
So then
interest the
ask
Gemara.
it.
Right.
I'm not, okay.
Okay,
So
whatever it
Then
is,
ask
that's
it.
not the
I'm
main part of
asking
our
that
Gemara.
you could ask a
Yeah,
pirk of
here.
the first created.
Yeah.
Reb Aaron, we need you to step in, Reb Aaron, and just say, because the Gemara didn't.
Here you go. Yeah, but anyways, that's only meant. It's only brought in agav this thing. So anyway, what was the point of bringing this in? Because what did we just get finished saying? That Klai hakerem is assur anyway. You're not allowed to benefit from Klai hakerem in any way, shape, or form. So why did the Gemara ask that as a chumrah? Right? Why is the Gemara saying Klai hakerem that it doesn't have chorus and it's assur b'anav? It means a nifrach malak Klai hakerem shekein loiken alein afilu shaloik derech hanasa. Right? That's what the Gemara says. In Isa again, nifrach malak Klai hakerem shekein loiken alein afilu shaloik derech hanasa. Why don't you ask on Klai hakerem? Right? The Gemara is trying to prove from Klai hakerem. What do you mean? There's a pasha. The reason why you can't learn from Klai hakerem, right? Because Klai hakerem has a big chumrah to it. That you get malchus even if you use it not in the intended way, right? So must be that Abaya, that's a kash on Abaya. So
I don't
Abaya said,
understand.
yeah.
If the reason every kind of hana is assur by Klai hakerem is because it doesn't say the lashon of achila, bas bchalav also doesn't. How is that a pirk?
Very good. We're going to say that. We're going to say very good. You're very good. We'll get to that. Yeah. It's good. So the Gemara answers V'Abaya. Timer b'mai. What's Abaya going to say? Timer b'basa b'chalav. Shenk loiken alav ela derech hanasai. So you're going to say that basa b'chalav that you don't get malchus only derech hana. Alto b'basa b'chalav achila ksivabei. Oh, very good. Does it say achila by basa b'chalav? It doesn't say achila by basa b'chalav, right? So therefore, that's how you're going to slug it up. Idach the kamaisav law, and the one that asked that you should ask a question from Klai hakerem. This is why we learn out from nevela. Ma nevela derech hanasa, af basa b'chalav derech hanasa. Just like nevela, it has to be derech hana. So to basa b'chalav has to be derech hana v'abaya. What's Abaya going to do with that? La'achila kasav achila begufay. The reason why it didn't say achila by basa b'chalav loyma shalaykan alav afilu shalayka derech hanasa. It comes to tell you that we get malchus for basa b'chalav even shalayka derech hanasa. Right? So we stop right there for a second. That's the way we paskin. Lamaisa, we paskin. Klai hakerem and basa b'chalav, you are not allowed to get hana from it. Shalayka derech hanasa. I remember a couple of years ago there was a thing. I think Rabbi Belsky was machma. That's there was a hand cream that somebody chapped had basa b'chalav in it. I think was that what it was? There was a hand cream. Was that hand cream? I don't know. There was something that basar b'chalav you would not be able to use even shalayka derech hana. Meaning you would think basar b'chalav is meant to be eaten, right? But let's say there's basar b'chalav in a deodorant or a hand cream. Would I be able to use it? And the answer is no. Basar b'chalav and Klai hakerem you're not allowed to use for refuah, right? unless it's obviously pikuach nefesh. If it's pikuach nefesh, then you use it. All right. Other than that, you can't use it. So if you ever have medications we discussed yesterday, maybe a pill is not considered anything. But if you hold that refuah does have basar bchalav in it, then you would not be able to take it unless it was a chayla sheyesh by sakana. Right? Okay, good. So then the word says v'lifroich mala klai hakerem shekin lehoisel shasa kosher. Why don't we ask from klai hakerem that it never had a shasa kosher? Right? So Abaya and Rava, meaning it never had a time that it was kosher. Right when it was planted, it became no good. So meaning right when it grew, the grapes with the wheat grew. So Abaya and Rava says klai hakerem ikra nesarin. Klai hakerem, right when it goes into the ground, it becomes assur. Right? Meaning right when the plants, right when you put them into the ground, they become assur. Before because they had a shasa kosher before they took root. Right? Yeah, so therefore it did have Klai hakerem had a shasa kosher. So maskiv l'Rab Shmaya or maskiv.
What about Orlah?
What?
What about Orlah?
What about it?
It doesn't have a shasa kosher before R Ashi?
It seems not. How?
Wow.
I mean, Orlah is a new tree.
Yeah, but it comes from a seed.
Oh, very good. So you're on the ball tonight. So he must have had a lot of donuts tonight or something. Right? No Wheaties anymore, donuts, right? So very good. So the Gemara is going to say the Masar Rav Shmaya. So Rav Shmaya asked, "Amaver otzitz nakub b'kerem." Somebody who carries an otzitz, right? An otzitz is a flower pot. A flower pot that has a hole in it b'kerem. So you take a flower pot, yeah, and you carry it over a vineyard. So now we say that the flower pot, through the air, through the hole in the flower pot, it's going to get nourishment, even though you're just holding the flower pot. You didn't even put it down on the ground. Yeah. So if it grows, it adds on 1/200th, then it's assur. Right. But if it didn't grow and didn't go with 1/200th, then it's going to be mutter because it's bottle in 1 in 200. Right. It's more chomer than truma. Truma said is 1 in 100. Right. And Orlah and Klai hakerem is 1 in 200. Yeah. Regular yisurim is 1 in 60, as we all know. But anyways, so if you carry this flower pot with a hole in it, then ha'isif masayim assur. If it adds on 1/200, it's assur. So it's mashma ha'isif in le'ha'isif. It's only if it grew. If it didn't grow, not. So what do you say? What do you say? What do you see from this? That there's, even if it's according to what we just said, that Klaim, the second it goes over the ground, it becomes assur. So then why isn't it this thing assur even if it didn't grow at all? Right?
Which assur are we talking about?
What?
Which assur are we talking about?
Klai hakerem. Klai hakerem.
What's in the otzitz? Wheat.
It's got to be wheat.
So where does Masayim come from? It's not min b'minoi.
That's the assur. The assur is wheat together with grapes.
Yeah, but the bittul of 1 in 200 is only min b'minoi. Min b'she'enoi minoi is still 60.
No, but that's
not even 60. It's bittul b'rayim here. It's not even yomish b'yavish.
Not when it comes to Klaim.
Yeah, only. That's.
So how do you ever ask a Klaim?
Kilayim is 1-to-1.
What?
It's always. Kilayim is just, the Torah says, you find two things together, they're assur.
Right.
There's no bittul by Kilayim. You have a field full of 5,000 vines, and you plant one stalk of wheat there, it's Kilayim. There's no bittul.
I think there is an assur. There is an Indian of bittul. Why wouldn't there be? There's an Indian of bittul by truma. There's an Indian of bittul by kachim. I'm sorry. There's an Indian about bittul by other.
Once something is picked, not when it's growing. There's no bittul.
No, that's what we're saying. If it grows less than a 200th, then it's going to be assur, right?
Why can't it be bittul?
The whole bittul of 1 in 200 is only the min b'minoi. Min b'she'enoi minoi, you don't need 1 in 200. There's never such a thing.
No, but
b'she'enoi minoi.
No, but when this thing, you got the wheat. Let's say you had wheat in the flower pot, right? Yeah. You had wheat in this flower pot. Now you're carrying it across your vineyard, and then it grows. right?
Right.
It got nourishment from the grapes, and now it's in the flower pot. You have grapes and wheat that grew
It's
together.
assur. What
No,
difference
it's-
how much it grows?
No, it does. Why? Because if it only grew slightly, and so that little thing that grew is assur, but the rest of the plant that grew before, it's gonna be bottled.
Oh, I'm messing up. It is min b'minoi. It's 1 200th of itself.
Correct.
So if the wheat was 200 centimeters tall and it grew 1 centimeter, then there's bittul. If it grew less than a centimeter, if it's less than a centimeter, there's bittul.
Correct.
That's what it's that's min b'minoi. That's
Yes.
min b'minoi.
Yeah. I'm glad I looked into this because I said
We-
when I was
we
learning
don't
about
know
it,
what
centimeters-
I said I'm looking into this. What?
Can we
Dasher,
put
you
up a
lost
wall?
the crowd. We don't know what centimeters are. We come from America. You lost everybody.
Yeah, but if I would have said wheat that grows 100 inches, he would have killed me the other way. There's no such thing.
Didn't we have this in Erevin, Siako, with the wall? Can't you just put up a wall between them?
Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah, so if you just take the flower pot and put it down on a piece of paper and then carry it, then you would have no problem, right?
No, that's not Erevin. We said it doesn't matter where the hole is. It can be on the side, the bottom.
That was in Shabbos, I think.
Yeah, Shabbos. Yeah.
Whatever it is, the kasha is that here it's saying only if it grows. And we just got finished saying that Klai hakerem becomes assur right when you plant it. So even though there's no planting here by the flower pot, but we're saying that it's assur, right? So what's a stira? So that's taka what the Gemara says. Amar Rava trei kroiksivi. Actually, there is. There's 2 psukim that it says. Uksiv hazera. It says the seed, like you were asking, Gershon. Uksiv hamaleya. Then it says what literally hamaleya means full, but it means what grew. So which one is assur? Is it assur when it goes in as a seed, or is it only assur once it starts growing? If it was just seeded the first time you put it in the seed, then it's gotta what do you call, make a shirish, it's gotta make a root. But if it was planted someplace else and then you brought it over and then planted it, haisif in, then only if it adds on. Yes, loy haisif loy. So it's the same thing with the flower pot. The flower pot already grew. So therefore, it's only going to be a problem if it grows more. If you put a seed in initially, then that becomes assur immediately. All right? Now, that's the end of the I'm not going to say non-gishmaka part of the daf, but the more technical part of the daf. Now we get into the gishmak over here. I mean, I hope it's gishmak. We'll find out, right? Okay. So, Amar Rav Yaakov, Amar Rav Yochanan, Habakol misrapayin, chutz me atzei asher. You're allowed to get healed from everything except for atzei asher, which is wood from avoda Zara, a tree that they bow down to. That you're not allowed to get healed from, right? So now Gemara asks, and we'll get back to this. Hey Chidami, what's the case? If we're talking about a sakana, afilu atzei asher nami, then even wood from an asher also you should be able to get healed from it. Sakana is the vashas. Be the leka sakana, and if there's no sakana, afilu kol isurin shabatayra nami lo. You can't just use every. You can't be over on isurim in the Torah if it's not a sakana. So the Gemara answers, "Lo'ilam dika sakana." No, we're talking about with a sakana. Afilu hachi atzei asher loy. And even so, you're not allowed to use atzei asher to heal you, even if it's a sakana. Meaning, the guy's dying, and the only way to save him is by taking a piece of avoda Zara wood and put it on his forehead. That's what the doctor says to do, right? So Gemara is saying, no, that's assur, because that's benefiting from avoda Zara. The Tani Rebbe Lezer Aimer, im nemer b'chol nafshecha, lama nemer b'chol me'edecha. In Kriya Shema, when you say you should love Hashem with all your heart, and then it says with everything you have, and with all your heart and with everything that you have. So if it says with all your heart, or your soul, not your heart, your soul, then why does it say with all that you have? Vim nemer b'chol me'edecha. And if it says everything that you have, why is it lama nemer b'chol nafshecha? If you have a person who likes his body more than he likes his money, that's why it says b'chol nafshecha. There are certain people that are willing to give up their life for money. So that's why it says b'chol me'edecha. So that's how we know that you have to love Hashem, your God, with everything. With now being over on avoda Zara or benefiting from avoda Zara, to save your life is not loving Hashem with everything that you have. So therefore, you are not. That's the makar that we know that the big three. This is we'll get into the rest of it on Amud base, but that's how we know what they call it, the big three, right? You're allowed to be over on isurim to save a life, except for avodah zara, shvichas damim, and gilui harayos. So this is how we know that avodah zara you're not over on, right?
Is bchalav.
What?
We would discuss why b'chal nafshecha b'chal me'edecha. What about b'chalav?
That's true. So I'm saying that b'chala you have to love Hashem with your whole heart. Yeah.
No, but why? I'm saying why
It was
the
too
Gemara doesn't
sharp
go.
for the
So
Gemara
why
to
doesn't
go
it say?
through.
Right. We went to 2 out of 3. What about the third one?
No, because it's
Gemara
saying you
could
have
have
to
added
love
b'chalav
Hashem with your
avcha.
heart. What are you saying, Gershon?
Gemara could have added bchalav avcha. Like you said, there's some people that like money more than they would give up their life for money.
Right.
There are people that would give up their kids' lives for money too. But that was too sharp.
You think so?
There's people that don't see their kids ever.
No, that's true. That's true.
And then
No,
they
I'm
go
saying,
away for Shabbos, and then yeah.
so that's true. But b'chalav avcha means you have to love Hashem with your heart. That means you have to love Him. Then b'chol nafshecha b'chol me'edecha is adding something on. So what is it adding on? So it's adding on 2 things. Either for a guy who loves himself more than his money, he still has to give himself up to Hashem, and all his money he also has to give up. Whichever one you like better you gotta give up to Hashem. Right, so that's how we know that you cannot be over on avodah zara in order to save yourself. Now, fascinating.
What is it?
Rashi, yeah.
I don't know. I just saw briefly Tosfos, but it seems like it's not so simple that it comes down to always. Is it because
Exactly,
I was going to ask? Is it because of the wood itself, or is it because it's actually serving a Zara?
Oh, very good, very good. So now both Rashi and Tosfos. What does it mean that you're not allowed to get benefit from avodah zara? I hope this is never negaya to anybody to know whether they have to give up their lives for avodah zara. But what does it mean here to benefit from atzei asherah? Right. So Rashi. So okay, well let's hold up Rashi because Rashi doesn't discuss it beferish, but Tosfos does. Right. So Tosfos, the bottom Tosfos says that what are we talking about? It's talking about where you don't have the ability to get healed from other wood. The only wood that can possibly heal is the wood of avodah zara, right? So then we're afraid that if you're going to use the avodah zara tree to heal you, because that's the only way to get healed, so then Tosfos says that's what's assur, and you have to give up your life. But if you had a choice of 5 different pieces of wood to heal yourself, and one of them happens to be an avodah zara wood, then you no pun intended, you would be allowed to use the avodah zara, right? Now, what's a shot?
Does this extend past wood? Like, would this be like an avodah zara? You're not allowed to use them as somebody that's going to be a doctor?
No, if the doctor's as long as he's not doing avodah zara.
So it doesn't have to do with so it has to do with the fact that it was used for.
Yes.
Right. That's
I mean, there's different types of avodah zara. It could be used as a carbon. It could be used. That's the worst. Used as a carbon is the worst, or it could have been bowed down to. Right. But the main point that we're saying here is that it's very interesting. I would never have thought this on my own, which is not a raya to anything. But right. But meaning, Tosfos is saying that if the only thing available is avodah zara, that's when you're not allowed to use it. But if there's other things available that would do the same healing power as the avodah zara, then you are allowed to use the avodah zara. Why? Because nobody's going to think that the avodah zara is what healed you. The doctor says, listen, you got to put wood onto your forehead. I don't know where that's muscle from. You got to put wood onto your forehead. That's what the doctor said you got to do to heal yourself. You have 5 pieces of wood, 5 options for wood. The closest one to you is a wood of avodah zara. According to Tosfos and Rashi, you'd be able to use that wood. Nobody's gonna go and think, oh, look at that, avodah zara has healing powers.
Is that
because they say, hey, just picked up the closest piece of wood.
Is that the problem with avodah zara, that we're worried that people are going to think that has a koyach, or is there an intrinsic assur of being getting hana from
no, you're
somebody avodah zara with?
Right, so that's exactly that's what Tosfos is saying. No, you listen, you're not allowed to benefit from avodah zara. We're talking about this as a pikuach nefesh situation.
Right, but saying there's a separate issue or assur?
It's a separate issue. That the problem with No, not lifnei iver. The problem with the avodah zara, Tosfos is learning, and Rashi learns the same way. The problem is that it's gonna make it look like avodah zara has healing powers, and that you can't have. That you have to give up your life.
Is that an isser also an additional isser? Or that's
that's part of the isser.
That's part of the isser. It's part of the isser. Part of the isser is getting hana, and people think that you can. Just trying to get clear.
Correct.
People think that there's a koyach.
Correct. But if
isn't there a case in the Gemara? Isn't there a case in the Gemara like that where somebody was seeking healing from a mean? And there was Rabbi Yochanan said you can't do that. Can't remember.
Yeah, that's a different.
Rabbi Shmuel said you can't. That's the rest of Tosfos. That's the rest of Tosfos.
What is it? That's the Gemara that he's referring to?
I mean, except for the names, it was word for word the case.
Yeah. That's yes, and Hanami. That's Vayter and Tosfos. Right, exactly. Right. Because but the problem is that it's going to make it look like avodah zara has healing powers. That's the way Tosfos is understanding it. So therefore, if nobody's going to come out of there thinking that avodah zara has healing powers, that's the Gemara in avodah zara also. So Mamela, that's not a problem. And Rashi says the same thing.
It seems to be that the psukim don't kick in the event that you have other options, right? Don't kick in if you have the other option. If you don't have the other options, then that's when you would have to sacrifice your life in order to use it.
Okay, I could hear you learning the lumdus like that. Yeah, the point is that people are going to think that avodah zara has healing powers, and that we can't have. Not that there's something assur specifically about it, which is assur too, but not b'shas sakana. What are you saying about?
So if you had a wagon that was made out of shera, you couldn't take that to the hospital. That would.
It depends. How many wagons do you have?
It's the only wagon.
It's the only wagon.
The ambulance corps is run by the church, and they have a wagon. They made a wagon out of shera.
Yeah, then in a chanami, that would be a problem, right? But if you had another option of a wagon, then it would be okay. Because they're going to say, it wasn't the wagon that healed him. It was he just happened to have taken that wagon. It's a big chiddush. It's a big chiddush in how to understand this pshat. Okay, so let's see weiter. So ki asa Ravin, right now, second line from the bottom. Ki asa Ravin amar Rabbi Yochanan b'chol misrapayin chutz me'avodah zara gilei raya shvichus damim. You're allowed to take healing things, healing power from the big, except from every isser except for avodah zara gilei shvichus damim. Avodah zara hadamara. Avodah zara is like we just said. Gilei arayas u'shvichus damim. How about znus and shvichus damim? The Tani Rebbe Yomer. When a person is trying to attack his friend, right, and trying to kill, right, so is this, meaning, and this is talking about being ma'anis, raping somebody who's engaged, right? So what does killing have to do with a girl who's engaged? So we answer, it's going to come to teach us something, right? And we're also going, it's also going to learn something out. So meaning we're going to take it two ways. We make a comparison between a killer and a naira right? She can kill her attacker, right? So Ritzeach also can be killed before the person gets killed, obviously, right? We learn on so Ritzeach, you die before you have to die before becoming a killer. So Naira Marasa also, now this wording in the Gemara here is very important for a parenthetical thing. Naira Marasa say Harig va'al Savar. Naira Marasa also, she should get killed and not be over on any isurim. So that's how we know that znus is you die before znus. Ushvichas damim gufei minolan. What do you want to say?
But she's supposed to kill the guy if she has a shot.
Yes, she has. Yes, if she can kill. Yes, she could kill the guy, but she should kill herself. She should let herself be killed, not kill herself. She should let herself be killed. right? If not, with shvichas damim gufei mino, but how do we know that?
Wait,
murder-
1 second. Isn't Shever Alta say in this case she doesn't have to?
Also,
let
we're gonna
herself
get
be
that. We're
killed?
gonna get that in the Taisus. We're gonna get that in the Taisus in a minute.
She
Yeah,
doesn't have
very
to take
good.
any. She doesn't have to take any action to hurt herself.
Right, very good.
So
We're
then,
gonna get
how
that
do
in
we
the
learn it out
Taisus.
from there? So how do we learn it out from there then?
What's that? Let's get to the Taisus. Let's just finish the Gemara first, yeah.
Esther.
Right, so we'll get to it. So
Okay.
shvichas
you know
damim
that.
I'm
gufei-
saying
shvichas damim
Okay.
gufei mino. And how do you know shvichas damim? You're supposed to let yourself die before killing somebody else. Svarahu, that's a svara. Kehu dasa l'kamei Rava. Somebody came in front of Rava. Amar lei, Mari Duroi, Amar li zil kata leplani. Mari Duroi said, go kill Pliny. V'iloi katinalach, and if not, I'm going to kill you. Amar lei l'ktulach. So he told him. So I guess he went to ask the Shaila. So what should I do? So he said, no, you got to kill V'loi tiktel, and you shouldn't kill the other guy because my chaz the dama didach samik tvei. Who says your blood is any redder, right? I think there's a phrase that comes from this, no? Who says your blood is redder than your friend's? Dilma dama hu gavros samik tvei. Maybe his blood is redder, meaning once we're losing one person, who says you're the more chashuv one to go kill somebody else? You let yourself die. Clearly Hashem wanted you to die. Don't kill somebody else.
His mother
Right?
told him he was more chashuv.
I guess, but then he went to yeshiva and they filled him in on the real news. It's the way it works nowadays too, right? You know, right? Now you hit the big leagues and you find out that it ain't so. But yeah, so that's what we're saying. So there is an interesting shaila that what happens if he says to one guy, he says, kill this other guy, and if not, I'm going to kill both of you, right? Of course, I don't remember what we come out with that case, right? But now it's one, meaning if he doesn't kill him, then both of them are dying anyways. So then maybe he should kill him, at least he saves his own life, right? Yeah, you got the case. Again, he tells the guy, kill Ruvain, go kill Shimon, and if you don't kill Shimon, I'm killing both you, Ruvain, and Shimon, right? So then Reuven might as well kill Shimon and at least save his own life. They're both going to die.
No,
anyway.
because then Reuven's a murderer. So if you do your calculus, it's not the same.
That's true, but at the end of the day, we need to have as many Jewish people alive as possible. Well, okay, but that's the shaila. That's the shaila, right? Yeah, fine. So now, Tosfos,
This
the top
wouldn't
Tosfos.
necessarily make him a murderer in that case.
Why?
The guy's already dead. He's dying either way.
Yeah, but Lamaisa is not okay.
Doesn't the Gemara say even if the knife is on your neck, you might not it might not happen? So you don't know if the guy's going to kill you.
No, it says don't give up hope.
Yeah.
It doesn't say it might
so you
not
don't know-
happen. It says don't give up hope. Yeah, so the other guy shouldn't give up hope, Taka. Doesn't mean you can't kill him.
True. Okay, but
still, I would say
I don't know. I don't remember what we come out with that. I don't remember what we come out.
I think Rav Oshri had shilas like this.
You come out that you have to wear a mask.
Very good, parents. Okay. But anyway, so what Tosfos says, right?
So the case where Oshri had to let his son he couldn't switch his son for the other person. They both didn't get killed. Nebuch one.
Got it. This was switching, right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So Tosfos says, Pirish Habayel, the top Tosfos says, who's the one that has to give up the life? The male. Because he's doing an action. Right? Aval he, a woman, she should just allow herself to be slept with, and she shouldn't die. The Karka Olam right? The famous Gemara, Karka Olam from Esther. Right? What's she doing? She's not doing a Maisa. Right? So, but the question is then how it says
she doesn't have to commit suicide. She doesn't have to commit suicide.
It's right, that's for sure. But look, you see, Tosfos says Af Naira Marasa Yeharig Va'al Yavar. Our Gemara doesn't say Af Naira Marasa. It says Af Naira Marasa Se Horeg Va'al Savar. Which from the Gemara, if you read our Gemara, it means she does have to let herself die. And Tosfos is saying no. The proper gear says the guy, meaning a guy holding the gun to the head and says, okay, tells the Reuven, go sleep with Rivka, right? And she's engaged. She's engaged to somebody or married, which either one, right? So he's got to die. She does not have to die, right? That's the way Taisus is understanding it. The way our Gemara says it, it's say harig, right? She also has to allow herself to die, right? Which Taisus is saying that's not the case, right?
Tehareg is passive. Tehareg is passive. It's not. Tehareg is like Yehareg. How's it different?
No, because it's for the female. It's going on. Say harig is female. Lashon nekeva. She has to die.
The Tosfos was going to say no. If for her to take an action, she has to.
Okay,
refuse.
so right. So then, all right. So then Tosfos says, but if let's say she has to be the one doing the action, then Enochanami, then she would have to die. Right? Then Enochanami, if she was doing the action, then she would have to die. Yeah? Fine.
Passively,
Okay.
passively refuse.
Yeah, obviously, she doesn't have to do suicide, but she has to refuse. Correct. Yeah? Fine. Okay, so that's that. So that's how we know Shvichas Damim. Fine. Then the Gemara goes, let's go back in the Gemara. What? Okay. Marba Rav Ashi, Ashkel Ravina. Yeah, back in the Gemara, around 12 lines down. Marba Rav Ashi, Ashkel Ravina, the Shaifla Lebarte, Biguarki the Orlah. He found that he was smearing on his daughter's Guarki the Orlah. Some olives that are Rashi says that they're not ripe. The of Orlah, they weren't ripe, meaning it was within the first 3 years that the tree grew, but they weren't yet ripe. So that we just said that's assur. So how was he doing it for refuah? So he said to him, when did the Rabbanan allow you to do something shaloi kederch? That's b'shas sakana, right? Shaloi b'shas sakana mi omer. But if it's not a shas sakana, they let you use an assur. So Amalei, hi ishta tzemirta nami k'shas sakana. No, this ishta tzemirta, this fever, is considered shas sakana. So therefore, I am allowed to use this Orlah. That's one teretz. Am I doing it derech hana? It's not derech hana, because it's not the derech to use the unripe olives for this, right? So that's considered loy derech, and we learned yesterday. Then that's not a problem. Yeah. Okay. Now we'll start this sugya, and this sugya has a lot. This next sugya is wild. It has a lot of ramifications. And there's a lot of wild stuff that could theoretically come out of here, of this next Gemara. So Itmar, we'll start it and then we'll see how far we go. Itmar, if a person gets hana from an assur, but he's forced into it, right? Abaya Omar Muteres. Abaya says it's mutter. You're being forced into it. But Rava Omar Asura, and Rava says it's assur, meaning. Are you mechuyev to run away if you're getting hana from something assur be'al korchach?
Like what?
By force. So the classic is you're walking in the street on Pesach and you smell the bakery, right? You're standing waiting for a bus outside a bakery or whatever, you're on a Cholamoya trip. It happens, right? You go in Manhattan and you smell the pretzels, whatever, and you're sitting there smelling it. So now that's hana be'al korchach. You have to be there. Right? And you're getting hana ba'al korchach. So Abaya says it's mutter. You're allowed to stay there. Rava says
the same case of just passing by a treif store during the year, no?
Well, the treif is not assur b'hana. Basar bchalav, you're right. If it would be cheese cooking with thing, then yeah. But the treif store, you're allowed to smell.
In front of a McDonald's, right? And I like the smell of cheeseburgers.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not allowed to sit in front of it? What's the problem?
Because it's a cheese, it's also bahana. So the question is, well, okay, here we go. Let's let you on. Well, the question is, this hana is coming to you against your will, right? So do you have to move? That's essentially going to be the essential question. Do you have to move, right? Now, I'll tell you some practical examples, and it's a good thing we'll be on Zoom because otherwise some of you guys might shoot me, okay? First one is you're sitting at a chasana, you're sitting in the coffee room, and the olam's talking lashon hara, or you're on Zoom. You're on there for the daf, and everybody's talking lashon hara. Now, you're not talking lashon hara, but you need to be on the Zoom, or you need to be by whatever. You need to get yourself a coffee, and they're talking straight out lashon hara. You mechuyev to leave or not? Right? That's hana ba'al korchach. Are you mechuyev to leave or not?
I don't know. The Chavetz Chaim says that if a person speaks Lashon Hara and he's in a group and he could do something about it, then he should say something. But if he can't, then he should just cover his ears and ignore.
Correct, right? In that paragraph,
That's what he's saying.
What's
Do
the
you have to
hana
leave the
there?
room or not? That's exactly what he's asking you.
What's the hana of Lashon Hara?
No, you're going to get the coffee. You're not even paying attention to what it's saying. So
No,
you hear
good, but
something,
you're hearing it. You're hearing.
But you're
the
getting
Lashon Hara.
hana from that?
I mean, you're hearing Lashon Hara. You're hearing. I mean, everybody gets episode gishmak. They hear the hak. You know what I mean?
It's sometimes correct. I hear you. I'm not arguing with that.
Unfortunately, you ready for the next example? The next example is this is the real doozer, okay? You have a job, you work in Manhattan. You know every day you go to Manhattan, you're going to see pretzels, right? Are you mechuyev to quit your job?
Mr. Yaakov.
Are you mechuyev to what?
To quit your job. Yeah,
quit your job.
Mr. Yaakov, yeah.
Is Aaron going to start talking about women and their body odor again? Is that what he spoke about in Manhattan last time?
I don't
think
the A train counts though.
You sure that would help?
It's the opposite.
Mr. Yaakov, many times I had that problem.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you another one. It's you go to a hotel, you want to go swimming. Nicht wissendig, right? So then you get there, hopefully there's nobody in the pool, right? Then when it starts getting packed, you say, okay, I'm not going to look. That's a halal bar korach. You didn't ask. You see, if you sit down and watch a movie, I don't know. Nobody can call that halal bar korach. I don't think. You can have a hard time to convince me that's halal bar korach. But let's say you say, well, I want to go to the ocean and I want to go swimming. Right? All of a sudden, a lady comes over there. Am I mechuyev to leave, or is that called halal bar korach? Right? But the job is a major one. Because you have to be there. Right? You have a job. That's a mitzvah to earn a parnasa. You have to be there, but you know that there's always going to be pretzels, right? These are. Listen, if you got a job, right? But how about amusement parks or malls where there is it's not al-korcha.
Mr. Yaakov, nobody wants to say anything, but when I used to tell my wife, from the time I left Beis Medrash at 7:00 in the morning till the time I came home at 7:00 at night, everything in the 12 hours involves something assur. Okay, that's how you make parnasa. Everything for 12 hours involves something that's assur. Whoever works tells you otherwise is just lying to them. They're lying to themselves and to the
Zevi,
because that's just
the fact
your
of children, your children have great yichus.
The Klai Kodesh here, they don't know anything about making parnasa. Excuse me.
Right, no, that's true.
Now we're going to Lashon Hara.
It's 12.
Now
You
we're
be
going to
quiet.
Lashon Hara.
You be quiet, okay?
He's not saying
it's 12. It's 12 hours connected of everything you did from the time you. That's it. That's a fact.
If you work, that's true. If you work in the city, 100%.
Okay, so
no, but some people are zeicher not. Some people have a schustaka to not.
Fine. It used to be until 15 years ago. 99% of the people worked in the city.
True.
Right. Until COVID.
Yeah, no, maskim. Right. No, but Rabban, I mean, I don't think anybody can deny what Rabban is saying. What are you saying, Gershon?
There's no hanadala nichale.
Also, we're going to get to it. We're just touching the beginning of the sugya, but we can work on this sugya for 2 weeks now straight, and we can. But I'm saying, you want to throw in there? Can you go to a mall? You want to throw in there? Can you go to an amusement park in the summer?
Do I want to go to the
baseball
mall?
Game?
I don't even want to go to the mall.
That's what I'm saying.
Go anywhere. What do you mean? You go, it's all over the place.
A lot of ways. Yeah.
Yes. Listen, what should I tell you? You have to figure out. Okay, now we're gonna go. Now that we have that's the hakdama to the sugya.
Let me ask you: should a person not walk outside because he might see something else?
And a chanami, you have to. This is the sugya.
I'm talking about in
this is.
This is outside your house.
Yes.
So if you walk outside your house, you're not going to see anything wrong.
Really?
You go to Mott Avenue. You go Mott Avenue in the summer. You're not going to see something.
Right. It's no.
You need to go to the city.
I want to tell you something. I mean, if you walk down Central Avenue, middle of the summer, you got a problem.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Yes. Who says that you would be allowed to? I'm not saying this serious. This is not.
In the end,
Yes.
Rabbi Tzuyaka is just going to get us all of a lot of Cholamoid trips, so this is going to work out well.
That's really what I'm
I know
looking for.
my brother-in-law is blind as a bat without his glasses, and he went to YU. Anytime he walked in Manhattan, he took his glasses off.
So we're going to discuss that too, whether taking off your glasses is an option or not an option. But yes, this is mamish the sugya. Yeah, everybody says the internet. Bottom line is, what's better, to order to get yourself internet and order stuff from Amazon, or go into CVS? You can't even check out, right? Because of the pretzels there. So what's better, to have internet and be able to get it on? Now you say there might be ads on Amazon too, but I don't think it's as bad as CVS, at least as far as the Amazon that I've gone on.
Which CVS
right?
you go to?
I don't know when the last time I was at a CVS.
It's the CVS in Boca.
Yeah.
It's not bad, by the way. It's not bad.
Anyways, I'm just throwing it out there. We're all talking honest, you know what I mean? We're one big family over here. We could talk like, okay.
My
So
father's been taking off his glasses outside for 50 years, by the way. There you go. My father. 50 years. And he's blind as a bat, by the way, but he still watches.
Baruch Hashem.
Yaakov, it's tight.
I was about to say, how are the bandages going over there?
Should all be so hailing, huh?
Yossi, that's why he's zeichet to have a son like you, Yossi.
Yeah, that's why he's zeichet, you know?
Very good.
It's only second best to a father-in-law like Aaron.
Yeah.
And Yossi takes off his glasses and Peter Luger, right?
I was about to say, not everybody's second to have a son who goes to Peter Luger.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's see the sugya. But really, if the sugya comes up a lot. So itmar, yeah? Hano haboloi la'adam ba'al korchoi. A hano that comes to a person ba'al korchoi, right? Meaning, let's what? Abaya Amar Muteris. Abaya says it's muter. Rava Amar assur. Rava says it's awesome. So now here we go with the options. Efshar v'kom echaven. If it's possible for you to go some other way, let's just use this walking in the streets as an example, right? Efshar, you have the possibility of working from home. Let's do let's tie COVID into it too. So now that the business is allowing you to stay home. So now you have a option to stay home, v'kom mechaven, and you go there and you're mechaven to get hana. Then that's pashut, that's also right. Loy efshar. But if you don't have the possibility to move to leave, right? Meaning you have to go into work, v'kom mechaven, and you also have kavana. Kuli amalei pligi to assur. Everybody holds that that's assur. So if you're going someplace and you're seeing pretzels and you have a kavana that to look at the pretzels, that's not called al karchach, right? Because you're having kavana, right? Kuli amalei pligi to assur. Loy efshar v'loy mechaven. Let's say you have no choice and you don't have kavana to see the pretzels, like you take off your glasses. Kuli amalei pligi to shari. Then everybody holds that that's mutter. Ki pligi. Where's the machlokes? To efshar v'loy mechaven. Right? You had the possibility of staying home from work. You decided to go to work anyways, but you have no kavanah to benefit from any of the things, the isurim that you're seeing. Right?
What's considered lo yafshar? Going off
That's the $1 million question. That's the $1 million question, right? That you have. Everybody has to figure that out on their own. What's efshar and what's efshar?
And what's considered lo mechaven?
Lo mechaven means you didn't want to go see the assur.
You didn't. The lo mechaven is that you're not happy about it. You're not.
How deep down do you not want to? Do you not want it?
That's the problem. Doesn't
the Gemara always say
the problem? That's exactly
doesn't the Gemara always say that when it comes to doing averis that it's really, you don't really want to be doing it?
That's true, but the bottom line is nichnas by ruach shtus.
Right. So it's
right, but the problem is that you're putting yourself in a situation
where you're going to
right, but right. I'm not talking about the efshar part, but I'm talking about the kamachavin part.
Okay, good, but the bottom line is it doesn't allow you to do it lechatchila, right?
I'm just saying, I don't think if you're saying that people don't really want to be doing it, so then they don't want to be doing it no matter what.
Right.
He doesn't want to be doing an assur. He wants the hana. It happens to be an assur also.
Right. Let's just finish up because it's a little late. So then we'll start with this tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get through tomorrow's daf. Right? What?
We can do this.
I know. Gesundheit. If anyone wants to stay on all night, we can learn the sugya. But but first let's get to the bottom.
Well, since we're all quitting our jobs tomorrow, we got a lot of extra time.
Right, that's true, right? So, anyways, so if you thought that we're done with Shabbos and you have to do it with no kavanah and kavanah, no, it comes back over here. Valiba de Rabbi Yehuda. So again, the machlokes is where it's possible for you to go someplace else, but you don't have kavanah. Valiba de Rabbi Yehuda. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it says davar she'eino mischaven assur. See, davar she'eino mischaven doesn't have to do only with Shabbos, right? What again? Just the classic davar she'eino mischaven is to drag a bench on Shabbos and you're making a hole in the ground. Right? Rabbi Yehuda says it's assur, and Rabbi Shimon says it's mutter, because that wasn't your intention. Your intention was to move the bench. It happens to be you made a hole in the ground. So Rabbi Yehuda, assur. If you go with Rabbi Yehuda that if you're doing something without kavanah is assur, everybody's going to say that it's assur, because even though it's eina mischaven, it's still assur. So even though you did not have kavanah to be looking at the pritzos, or to smell the bakery goods on what do you call it? Davar she'eino mischaven is assur. Ki pligi alibet Reb Shimon. What's a machlokes is according to Reb Shimon. Davar she'eino mischaven mutter. Reb Shimon holds if you're doing something without a kavanah is mutter. Abaya Reb Shimon. Abaya holds like Reb Shimon, and therefore davar she'eino mischaven is mutter. For Rava Amar, and Rava says no ad kan like Reb Shimon elahecha delay efsha. Reb Shimon only said it where you don't have a choice. Meaning, if you don't have a choice, and then against your will something happened, then you're potter. Aval heicha de efsha loy, but where it's possible, then you don't have to. Then Reb Shimon, they don't have to. Then Reb Shimon doesn't say his din. So if you, in the case that we're talking about here, where the machlokes is where it says efsha and loy mechaven, right? So since it was, according to Rava, since it was efsha, then there's no then you're going to be chayiv. Let's do the ikad army. Then there's another pshat. Efsher v'loy mechaven, if it's possible to leave and you don't have kavanah, hainu plutar Rabbi Yehuda Reb Shimon. That's the basic machlokes, Rabbi Yehuda and Reb Shimon, whether davar she'eino mischaven is mutter. Loy efsher v'loy mechaven, if it wasn't possible and you didn't have kavanah, kuli amalei pligi d'shari. That we already said. You didn't have a choice; you had to be there, and you didn't have kavanah to do the assur. Everybody else is mutter. Ki pligi deloy efsher v'kom mechaven. Where you didn't have a choice, you had to be there, but you're having kavanah. Now here it switches. Now, according to this version, Reb Shimon, who normally is the makel, is going to become the machmer. Everything is totally in kavanah. Since you had kavanah here, even though you didn't have a choice to be there, but once you're there and you had kavanah, right? I'm saying even if you didn't have kavanah, I'm sorry, you did have kavanah. So according to Reb Shimon, we go with the kavanah. So kuli amalei pligi dasa. Ki pligi alibet Rabbi Yehuda damar loishna mischaven loishna she'eino mischaven efshar assur. Right? But according to Rabbi Yehuda, who says it makes no difference whether you have kavanah or you don't have kavanah, if it's possible for you to get out of there, then it's assur. So Abaya Rabbi Yehuda, the Rava Amar Lach, and then Rava say no. Ad kan like Rabbi Yehuda she'ein mischaven kim mischaven. When did Rabbi Yehuda say that something that you didn't have intention to do is like having intention? That's l'chumra. But for Rabbi Yehuda to say that something you're having kavanah to look at, let's say, if you have a kavanah to do assur, we're saying since you don't have the possibility to leave, to make that into an eina mischaven, that much Rabbi Yehuda is not going to do. Okay, so those are the two versions of the Gemara, right? And depending on how you come out with these versions, that would be totally in whether a person has to quit his job if there's preachers there. So we'll continue this tomorrow, Bez Hashem. All right. Afreilich and Chanukah, Lichtig and Chanukah, and to be continued tomorrow, Bez Hashem.
Okay, see you after work.
Yeah.
What do you think of this psak about the El Al flights of Kohanim? You saw it?
I don't know. I get my hak from the daf here. So I don't. You got to fill me in on the hak.
Basically, the heter for El Al that from JFK to Tel Aviv, they had a heter for Kohanim that they could fly even if there were Mason on the flight. They did something special, covered.
Half of open space that they put in the casket. But
they found out today that they haven't been doing it. So they basically said nix the whole heter until we can tell you further.
I didn't know the Kohanim was samich on this.
What do you mean? How else? I mean, I'm saying Allah wise. Well, how else?
I thought Kohanim flew from Newark.
Yeah, I thought it's only from Newark. It's not problem.
No, JFK is the problem. Newark is fine.
They don't fly from Newark, I thought.
Right. What?
No, they don't fly Mason from Newark, I thought.
Correct. We're talking about just from JFK.
Right, I didn't know Kohanim flew. I didn't know. I don't. Yeah.
I mean, there was
This is
this
the Gemara
long-standing
we had
heter
in-
for years and years and
Gemara
years
we had in
about it.
brachas. If you have an oil over it, it doesn't.
We had it. Yeah, if you have a tefach of space in between, there's
That's
all
what they
sorts
used
of.
to do. They used to stick the body in a case.
Yeah.
Problem is that El Al hasn't been doing it.
Well, I hear. Well, now that it's owned by a frum guy, maybe that'll change.
Maybe that's what you found out.
Right. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but there's all sorts of coolers, right?
You're saying I could still keep my ticket? No, I'm joking. I don't have a ticket.
Meanwhile, I know a guy who asked a shaila probably 15 years ago to David Cohn, and he asked him in the summer, what's better, to walk outside in Manhattan to work and see priestess, or to walk underground and be inundated with basar bchalav mamish to the point that you could vomit? It's how thick it is. What would he say is the?
That is a very strange question.
Yeah, that is
the guy didn't want to see priestess. It was in the middle of the summer. People, it's like going to the beach, and the other way is to go underground, through the tunnels of the subway. But they have thick basar bchalav in the air. It's like you could cut it with a knife. And the guy told me that David told him that to walk underground. He said because the reyach is not matame, but the tumah of the assur of shmir sanayim is more important. Interesting psak, no?
That is interesting. So I'll tell you like this. What's better? You ready for this one?
Priestess with the
no. I'm not talking. We're all talking priestess, right? Aaron's off already, huh? Okay. We're all talking. We're all talking priestess. Seeing undressed, right? What is worse? You're walking down Central Avenue, and you look at a single girl, or a married woman, and you look at her twice. You see her once, okay, but then you look again. It's better to do that, or to eat, go to McDonald's and eat a hamburger.
McDonald's is better.
Could be.
That second look is what does it.
That's a issur, but whatever it is, it's at least the same issur.
The second look.
Yeah, yes. My meister, right? With a couple of my guys. I was standing in the hallway and I was facing, say, the elevator this way. They were facing me, looking down the end of the hallway. And a lady was in the summer. She was visiting family, and she came out, and she obviously wasn't wearing a lot. So, I'm looking this way, and she walks past me, and these guys are facing the other way, and they stop talking, and they're busy looking. And they turn to me and they go, "What? You're not going to turn around and look? You don't want to look? Come on! What do you think? You're." I said, "Listen, the first look, I couldn't help it. What am I supposed to do? She came right around the corner. I can't." I said, "God doesn't want you taking that second look." And the guy, without blinking, turns and he goes, "That's why I never stopped looking the first time. It was one big look."
There you go.
He's a real guy.
That was a real guy. Like I never stopped looking. That was all one look.
I had a patient years ago, and the doctors take off the recording. Shut up the recording.